Idealism is a theory that focuses on peace, cooperation, justice, and moral values in global politics. It believes that countries can work together to maintain international peace and stability. Idealists believe that war is not inevitable. Conflicts can be avoided if countries cooperate and follow international rules. Peace can be achieved through diplomacy, negotiation, international law, and cooperation between nations. In addition, international organizations such as the United Nations play an important role in promoting global peace. They help countries resolve conflicts. So, idealism became more important after World War I because countries wanted to prevent future wars after seeing the destruction and loss of life caused by the war.
Before discussing about idealism in international relations further, it is important to understand its founding father. Plato was an ancient Greek philosopher and is widely recognized as the founder of idealism. He believed that ideas, knowledge, and moral values are more important than material objects because they represent the true reality. According to Plato, the physical world that we see around us is only a reflection of a higher world of ideas, which he called the world of forms. In the world of forms, the concepts such as justice, truth, and goodness exist in their perfect form. Plato also emphasized that human beings should use reason, wisdom, and education to seek truth and achieve moral excellence. He believed that society can become better when people act according to ethical values rather than personal interests. These ideas later became the foundation of idealism in international relations. Idealists argue that states should cooperate, respect international law, and promote peace and justice instead of focusing only on power and conflict. One important influence of Plato idealist thinking can be seen in the development of idealism in international relations, especially through Woodrow Wilson's 14 point, which emphasized peace, cooperation, and international organization after the World War I. Woodrow Wilson is the 28th President of the United States. On April 1917, President Woodrow went before a joint session of a Congress to request a declaration of war against Germany. Just 2 days later, Congress declared war. The war was brutal and expensive. Under 2 years of fighting, the US has spent $32 billion and lost over 106,000 men. Wilson wanted the war to end, and then he announced his 14 point. He didn't just want the war to end to protect America, but he hoped to prevent war from happening again. So, together with his advisor, Colonel Edward M. House, they organized a group of 150 political and social scientists to study Allied and American policy all over the globe. Collecting nearly 2,000 reports and 1,200 maps, this would inform the Idealist 14 point, which would address causes of the World War and also propose solutions to ensure world peace in the future through policy and negotiation. And the 14 points by the Woodrow Wilson, 8 out of 14 points aim to resolve territorial issues and securing borders and statehood, such as like for Italy and Turkey. 5 points cover general principle for a peaceful world. And the 14th and the most influential point proposed that countries form an alliance to guarantee the political independence and territorial integrity and small states alike. In conclusion, Woodrow Wilson's 14 points and his proposal for the League of Nations became important foundation of idealist theory. His ideals demonstrate that belief, peace, cooperation, and international institutions are essential for creating a more stable and harmonious international system.
What is the main point of idealism in international relations? This idea focusing on belief that countries should avoid engaging in warfare, but rather resolve any conflict that arises through discussion and diplomacy. Countries are expected to engage in conversation and reach amicable resolution without having to employ force or violence. Another aspect of idealism is the maintenance of peace and situation where countries cooperate with one another. Countries cooperate by making agreements and maintaining collective security, as well as minimizing weaponry so as to ensure that no conflict arises. A good illustration of this concept is the international relation of the UN, where countries are encouraged to use peaceful methods such as cooperation to settle their conflicts. Next is morality and ethical principle. Idealists believe that countries should not only focus on power or their own interests. Instead, they should make a decision based on moral values such as justice, fairness, and respect for human rights. This means that in international relations, countries are encouraged to act responsibly and think about the well-being of people around the world, not just their own advantage. For example, countries should help maintain peace, protect human rights, and avoid action that can harm other nations. Hence, idealists believe that ethics and humanity are important in creating a more peaceful and fair international system. The third main point of idealism is collective security. Collective security means countries work together to maintain peace and protect each other from trade or aggression. In this system, if one country is attacked, it is considered as an attack on all countries, not just one nation alone. Because of that, other countries will unite and respond together to stop the aggressor. The main purpose of collective security is to discourage countries from starting wars because they know they will face opposition from many nations, not only one country. So, this helps create stability, cooperation, and international peace. One example is the League of Nations, which was created after World War I to prevent future wars. However, it was not strong enough to stop World War II. After that, the United Nations was established to continue the idea of collective security and promote peace among countries worldwide. In short, collective security shows that idealism believes peace can be achieved when countries cooperate, support each other, and solve conflicts together instead of using war. Imagine a world where countries solve problems not through war but through rules and discussion. This is what idealists believe in. Idealists support international laws and global organizations to manage relations between countries and resolve conflicts peacefully. For example, the United Nations helps countries come together to discuss issues and find peaceful solutions. Meanwhile, the International Court of Justice settles legal disputes between states in a fair and lawful way. So instead of using force, countries are encouraged to use dialogue, negotiation, and legal processes. In conclusion, these international institutions help build cooperation, strengthen trust, and reduce the chances of conflict between nations.
So we will look at for the strength of idealism. One important strength of idealism is that it promotes global peace and cooperation. Idealists believe that countries should solve problems through negotiation, discussion, and diplomacy instead of using violence or war. By cooperating with one another, countries can build trust, maintain stable relations. Idealists encourage nations to work together on global issues such as climate change, poverty, health crisis, and security threat. For example, the United Nations were established to encourage peaceful cooperation and prevent future war. Through international cooperation, countries are more likely to maintain peace and avoid unnecessary conflict. Another strength of idealism is that it encourages the use of international law and international institutions. Idealists believe that laws and organizations can help maintain order and stability in the international system. International law provide rules that countries should follow, while institutions help manage disputes peacefully. Instead of solving disagreements through military force, countries can use legal and diplomatic channels. For example, the International Court of Justice helps settle disputes between countries based on international law. This approach reduces violence and promotes peaceful solution. Idealists believe that strong international institutions can create a safer and more organized world. Idealism also strongly supports human rights and justice. It believes that every person deserves freedom, equality, dignity, and protecting regardless of nationality, race, or religion. Idealists encourage government and international organizations to defend human rights and promote humanitarian values. This includes protecting civilians during conflict, fighting discrimination, and supporting democracy and freedom. For example, the United Nations Human Rights Council works to protect and promote human rights around the world. Idealists believe that respecting human rights can create a more peaceful and fair international society. Despite its strengths, idealism also has several weaknesses. One major weakness is that it is often considered too idealistic and less practical in real-world politics. Idealism assumes that countries are willingly to cooperate peacefully and follow more principles. However, in reality, many countries prioritize their own nation interests, security, and economic goals over international cooperation. Some governments may ignore international law when it benefits them politically or economically. Because of this, critics argue that idealism does not fully reflect the reality of international politics, where competition and conflict are common. Another weakness is that idealism underestimates power struggles between countries. In international relations, powerful countries often compete for influence, military strength, and economic dominance. Realistic critics argue that economies mainly act to protect their own interests rather than focusing on morality or cooperation. Even with international organization and agreements, conflict can still occur because nations may not trust one another completely. Strong countries may also use their power to influence weaker nations. This shows that power politics remain an important factor in global affairs, which idealism sometimes overlooks. One of the biggest criticisms of idealism is that it failed to prevent major wars and global conflict. After World War I, many idealists believed that international cooperation and organization could stop future wars. However, this effort were not successful in preventing World War II. International organizations at that time were too weak to stop aggressive action by powerful countries. This failure caused many scholars to question whether idealism was realistic enough to maintain international peace. As a result, idealism became more influential after World War II.
Now, let's take a look at impact of idealism towards international relations. Number 1, starting with the promotion of international peace. As Ding argues, idealism aims to create a global society rather than just a temporary truce. For instance, by focusing on shared interests rather than military competition, we move away from the security dilemma. Ultimately, this approach reduces global tensions and supports long-term stability by making peace the standard expectation. And number 2 is the fostering of diplomacy and dialogue. Rooted in Woodrow Wilson's 14 points, this principle advocates for open governance and transparent communication. For example, by prioritizing the diplomatic process, we can resolve the grievance at the conference table. This directly helps prevent conflicts and build trust between nations, ensuring that dialogue remains our most powerful tool in international relations. Number 3, while idealism champions peace, its first major critique is its historical failure to prevent major conflicts. Idealists rely heavily on diplomacy, yet peaceful cooperation alone is often insufficient against aggressive states. A prime example is the failure of the League of Nations, which completely failed to stop the outbreak of World War II, proving that institutional dialogue cannot always contain raw aggression. And the number 4 is the weak enforcement of rules. Idealism operates on the assumption that international law regulates states' behavior. However, global bodies like the United Nations possess limited power to actually enforce their resolutions. When powerful countries ignore treaties or break rules without facing serious consequence, it undermines the overall effectiveness and credibility of international law. And the number 5 is overdependence on state cooperation. In reality, national interests almost always override global ideals. If a treaty threatens a nation's economy or security, that state will choose self-interest over the collective good. This heavy reliance on willing cooperation makes true global unity incredibly difficult to achieve, exposing the practical limitation of the idealist perspective.
To conclude, idealism presents a vision of a world where countries cooperate with one another to achieve peace and stability. Although idealism has been criticized for being too optimistic and sometimes unrealistic, especially when countries prioritize their own interests, its core idea remains relevant today. Therefore, idealism continues to provide valuable insights into how international peace and stability can be achieved through collaboration, mutual understanding, and shared responsibility among states. That's all from us. Thank you.